Hey, what's up guys? Jason here. So we're going to go through a daily joint kind of health routine, something you can do in the morning as a morning routine. You can also use it as a cool down at the end of the day, or if you've just been stuck in a seated position throughout your day, this is a good thing to pop up and just do for 5 to 10 minutes. Really spend any amount of time that you want to do it. We're going to demo 3 reps for each exercise, but really you can take this to any number, maybe anywhere from like 5 to 15, and just spend time working on your joints one by one. And then also remember, we're going to try to move slow through this, so this is really about slowing down and getting a little bit more familiar with how your body's moving right now. So we're going to start just at the top and we'll work our way down. So arms are going to start by your side. You're going to tuck your chin to your chest, and you're going to start to trace a circle with your chin and try to rotate your neck through as much range of motion as you can. While you're doing this, again, I want you to squeeze a little bit of fists. Maybe you can have open hands, whatever you prefer. And then remember, your abs are going to stay tight, your tail's going to stay a little tucked, and the only thing we're trying to move is our neck. So we're going to switch directions and go to our left. Try to keep the shoulder blades still. Don't let them come along for the ride. And just go slow enough where you can monitor what's moving and what you're trying to hold still, okay? So again, anywhere from about 5 to 15 reps, starting there, and then we'll move down to our shoulders. Arms by your side, you're gonna shrug your shoulder blades up into your ears, protract and press them forward, try to squeeze your chest. When you press your shoulder blades forward, keep your fists by your side. They're gonna wanna travel forward. I want you to keep them right by your side. Pull the shoulder blades down, hug, squeeze them back, pinch and retract, and then go back up through that motion. Now we cue it like a box, but I want you to try to make it feel as circular as you can. And then we're gonna reverse directions. We're gonna squeeze forward, go up, pinch into our ears, shrug backwards, and roll around. So see that from the side, just so you can see what's moving. Going forward first, and then backwards. Now while you're going, your spine is going to want to move, your chest is want to move, again your tailbone may want to move, and I want you trying to move slow enough where you can again monitor what is moving. We're trying to move the scapula, the shoulder blade, around the rib cage, and feel the chest and the upper back muscles squeezing to do that. Next we're going to move to the shoulder, the head of the arm. So we're going to keep the arm nice and stiff by our side. The rest of the body is going to tighten up a little bit, just enough to stay still. We're going to bring the arm up and across through the middle and try to sweep our bicep up past our ear. I want you to pause here on the first rep. You can grab your side if you want. Just remember to flex here. We're going to start to internally rotate the head of the arm and send it backwards. I want you to try to find as much rotation as you can through the head of the arm until you find your hip. Think about wringing out a towel here. We're going to stay internally rotated, squeeze the tricep, lift backwards, get as high as you can until you start to unravel the arm into external rotation. And trace that circle backwards, coming back around. Again, 2 more reps. Lift up, right past your ear, squeeze the abs, hold tight, squeeze your butt, internally rotate the head of the arm as you send it backwards. Monitor what your shoulder blade's doing. It's going to want to shrug up into your ears. Try to keep a good amount of space between your shoulder blade and your ear. Reach backwards, externally rotate the arm, and try to come through as much space as you can. One more time, lift up, squeeze, tighten up the body, internally rotate the arm, send it backwards, and then retrace it, bring it home. Good. Other arm, do this one facing forward just so you can see from the other perspective. Squeeze the front, tuck the tail, chest is nice and tall, shoulder blades back, reach up through the middle. Pause again at that first rep. Find as much internal rotation at your shoulder. Again, I recommend holding here. You can also kind of pull your rib cage down so you can get a feeling of whether or not it's shifted or lifted up. And then squeeze and lift back. 2 more times. Try to keep a good squeeze in the bicep and the tricep as well. Your elbow may want to bend. I want you to focus on making a circle big enough or small enough, whatever works, where you can keep the elbow straight, okay? 1 more time through. Good. Shake that one out. Again, you can take that as many reps as you want. You can also vary the degrees of tension that you're working through. You can try to bear down and squeeze through as much tension, or you can do it nice and relaxed and just kind of treat your joints to some easy motion. Next, from here, we're gonna go wrists. So hands out in front. You can do this with open hands or closed fists. I'll show you both, okay? We're gonna draw the pinkies in towards each other, extend the wrist down towards the floor, try to point the fingers straight down, rotate out towards the thumb. There's not much rotation there, and then try to pull the palms back into yourself. And again, we're going pinkies down and out, rotate a little bit out towards the thumb. Try not to flip the forearm over and close the fist. Continue in that same motion. And then we'll roll them the other way. The whole time, I'm focusing really hard on just making sure my wrists are moving and that the rest of my body is staying still. So it's a good idea to watch your hands and stay focused as you're going through that, okay? Shake that out. Next, we'll go elbows, okay? So the elbows rotate at the forearm, so just turning the wrist back and over, but again, I want you to try to feel the forearm bones flipping over when you're doing that. And this one, I want you to imagine that you're bicep curling some weight. So we're gonna start with open hands. Imagine that you're holding 100 pounds and you're a bicep curl up 100 pounds. From here, you're gonna rotate the elbows over and then press that 100 pounds down. Rotate out, lift, rotate, press down, and then to reverse, we'll just go backwards. And this is really good if you've felt any elbow pain from any of the pulling drills that we do, or if you get any elbow pain during push-ups or something like that. Just try to figure out what's going on at your elbow. Can you rotate it at all? Does it move? And then you can start to figure out what's wrong. From here, we're gonna hit the floor. We're gonna go through our spinal wave first. We're gonna go hands down on the ground. I want you to try to start with extension. You can have your toes tucked or untucked. That's a preference thing, all right? We're gonna lift the chest and we're gonna try to get it reaching out and up in that motion here. And I wanna lift the tailbone as well and get a big arch going in my back. Now you can start at either end, whether it's your head or your tailbone. We're gonna start at the tailbone and we're gonna try to move in a wave and arch through the spine into spinal flexion, one vertebrae at a time as best you can. Now from here, if you want to stay continuous, just starting each rep at the tailbone, you're going to pull yourself back into extension and try to move fluidly through that space in a wave as best you can. Now you can also start these reps at the cervical vertebrae up at your head. So what you would do is you would tuck your chin, start to hollow out your chest, and then round into flexion, and then coming back into extension, lift the head first. Careful not to pinch just at the back of the neck, and then pull yourself into extension. Good. Again, any number, like 5 to 15 reps, you can move through as much tension as you want on those, but just try to get as many pieces of the spine moving as you can, okay? From moving the spine in a wave, we're gonna go and try to make it rotate. So I'm gonna do one set facing sideways just so you can see it, and then I'll do the other set facing you guys. I want you to wrap your arms around yourself, give yourself a big hug. You're gonna pull everything in, try to squeeze the rib cage and the hips together. So tuck the tailbone, pull the front of the rib cage down, and then give yourself a big hug. From here, I want you to rotate to the right as much as you can, but don't let your hips fall out. So I don't want my hips to turn with me. So big glute squeeze, and make sure that your hips are gonna stay put. So we're gonna rotate to the right, try to lateral flex to the right, so bring your shoulder over your hip. And then from here, we're gonna extend the spine as much as we can. Go nice and slow, pause here, and start to rotate through the upper back to your left side. We're gonna laterally flex here, oblique crunch, before I start to tuck the tail and round my spine back into the middle. One more time. Now from here, I want you trying to operate through a bit of tension, so giving yourself a good squeeze and trying to feel the middle of your body generate the movement. Trying to feel all the muscles as close to the spine. Okay, so now we're gonna switch directions. I'll just face you guys so you can see it a little differently. Again, tucking the tail, pulling the rib cage down, giving yourself a good squeeze, rotate to the left. Side bend over your left hip. arch and extend the tailbone all the way up to your upper back. Now I want you to keep the chin down. Don't let your head fly backwards. So we'll think chin in and then rotate through to the right, side bend on the right, and then tuck and round everything back into the middle. 2 more reps. Big arch through the upper back. Try to keep the extension of the tailbone as you go through, and then flex back through the middle. 1 more time. Arch and extend, get as tall as you can. Try not to just lean backwards. Keep your hips over your knees. Rotate through the upper back, and then pull yourself back down. From there, I want you to go to your butt. We're gonna grab your elbow underneath the same leg knee, and then go ahead and just pull it in tight, okay? We're gonna work on the ankles, so I want you to start with your toe pointed, and then start to trace a circle with your foot as best you can, using this hand on top to hold your kneecap, making sure that your knee's not moving along or that your leg's not moving along too much with the ankle motion. Once you go about 3, and again, you can take it up to as many reps as you want, so go ahead and switch directions. Good. From there, I want you to start to work on your knee. Last thing, this will be a good stretch for your hamstring and be a little bit of relief from your lower back. Okay, so we're gonna pull the toes up towards the knee. We're gonna rotate the shin out towards the right, since I'm on my right leg, so away from midline. Then we're gonna start to extend, and I want you to purposely stop shy of straightening the leg so that you can rotate the shin and the ankle over to the middle and pull back down. Rotate out, lift, rotate in, pull down. 1 more time in that direction, rotate out, lift, rotate in, pull down. Now to switch directions, we're gonna keep the shin rotated in, keep the ankle, and remember to keep the toes lifted and pulling out. We're gonna lift back up, rotate out, and pull back down. Now, as we're going through this motion, I want you paying attention to your quad and your hamstring, trying to flex to create these motions. So I'm flexing at the quad to lift, holding, rotating over, and then squeezing the hamstring to pull down. Good. After 3, just go ahead and switch sides. Left elbow underneath left knee. Grab, hold the kneecap to hold that tight. Now, while you're doing your ankles, you have a couple different options. You can either squeeze your toes and grip them, hold them tight as you're making your circle to strengthen the arch of the foot. Caution that it may cause a foot cramp. Or you can spread the toes and try to keep as much space in between your toes as you go through your circle, trying to pull them back the whole time as you rotate the ankle. Each option will give you about a little different sensation through the ankle, and you can find what works best for you. And after you finish your ankle rotations, pull the toes back up towards the shin. Start rotating out away from you. So we're gonna rotate to the left this time. We're gonna extend up, pause just shy of straightening, rotate in and pull down. Rotate out, lift, rotate in, pull down. 1 more time. Focusing again, squeezing the quad and the hamstring on the 3rd one. Keep it rotated in, lift up, rotate out just to change directions. And again, what we're trying to do while we move the knee is get the shin bone to rotate, and then feel the quad and the hamstring create that motion. So again, this is just a daily joint health routine that you can go through kind of top down. You can use this at the beginning of the day, at the end of the day, and really go through and spend as much time as you want working on each joint. All right, guys, so we're gonna talk about just joint mobilizing the hip really quick. So find something to balance up against, maybe a wall. We're gonna cross the leg to start, all right? So the working leg is gonna be the one I cross over, and then my stance leg I wanna keep as straight as I can. Hips are tucked underneath me, rib cage is tucked down. I'm gonna start by trying to lift my ankle and my knee up about as high as I can. Maintaining that height, I'm gonna draw the knee out as wide as I can. From here, I wanna take my ankle and rotate to the other side of my hip. Now, as you go through that space, keep your hip down and don't let it shift. Don't let any bend happen in your stance leg. We're gonna find a glute squeeze, hamstring squeeze, and drive straight backwards to draw a big circle. And then from here, kick straight back, out wide, lift and rotate back through external rotation to get into the front. So again, just so you can see from the side, we're lifting up, coming out wide, holding external, Going internal rotation to find hip extension, squeeze straight back, draw the knees together, backwards, out wide, maintaining that position, externally rotate the hip through back into the front. Good. Switching legs, again, find a position where you can balance, cross the leg over. Option to hold the rib cage or hold the arm out straight just to create tension. Lift straight up, maintaining external rotation. Bring the knee out as wide as you can. Internally rotate the hip, send it back into extension. Draw the knees together, and then go backwards and come back through that space. This part, through the internal rotation, again, monitor your hip. Make sure you're not shifting over. You may need to humble yourself a little and draw a smaller circle in order to keep the hip down, and that's okay too. Again, we're trying to isolate the hip and get it to work individually before we ask it to work with the rest of the body.